Guys, Dan, Brad, what's going on?
Scott, thank you very much for the great introduction. Why don't I do the kind of similar sound check? Let me make sure that you guys can hear me. Am I coming in loud and clear?
You're coming in loud and clear over here, Dan. I can see your desktop as well.
Brad, a pleasure to hear from you. Brad Williams, our Chief Operating Officer and master of almost everything related to trade ideas. He can
Must be
keep
Wednesday, huh?
Brad can almost keep me under control, which, is not a very easy thing to do. Ask Barry, our trading moderator, and of course, Mrs. Merkin. She'll tell you the same thing. Let's get started. First of all, thank you everyone for joining us at our webinar. Before we usually do our standard disclaimer, Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. And while we do have amazing technology, everything that you're seeing here is for educational and informational purposes and should not be construed as a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Since a lot of you already know who I am, I'm just going to be quick intro for the people that don't. Dan Merkin here. This is me in 1996 when I really became one of the more successful, profitable traders in the United States of America. And I got featured in several different articles. The one on the left is in Austin, Texas, my hometown, and then the one on the right is when I moved to San Diego. Brad, why is it wherever I go, newspapers follow?
You know, I think it's that magnetism that you have, Dan.
But the gist of why I'm trying to showcase this is not to brag, it's just saying that this software has built a lot of the things that I learned over my many years in the active investing community and being a pioneer in that space. I just got an ability to see things and do things that most people never got a chance to do, and this is all the things that are represented inside of Trade Ideas. As a result, Trade Ideas today, if you look at the right-hand side of this presentation, we are the fastest growing subscription-based software as a service company in the US. And this growth and this curve is mostly because of the technological leap forward that we have made over the last 2 years, bringing our artificial intelligence Holy Grail virtual analyst online. And I'll be demonstrating all of that, but the real thing is keeping it very simple. One of the things that completely differentiates Trade Ideas from virtually every single other vendor in the space is that myself, Brad, and almost everybody you come in contact with at Trade Ideas is not just an employee, we're also investors and are still investing as a way to maintain not only validity in the market, but to make sure that we provide a service based on empathy versus just trying to sell a buck. We want to make sure that we need our own technology. And the only way that you can do that is like that hair club for men thing. I'm not just the CEO, I'm also a client. We use our own tech. And what you're seeing here is a picture of our brand new addition to the fold of Trade Ideas. It's our Brokerage Plus, connected to interactive brokerage. One of the most exciting things that we're doing right now is we're really almost getting ready for, not, I don't want to say full hands-free automation, but certainly a merging of machine and man where you can get into things you see from our software at a right click or at a touch of a button. And that gives you an advantage to not have to fiddle with the keyboard, and also adding all the other beautiful things we do like assisted exits and risk management. The hardest part about active investing, it actually is not the thing that you find to get into, but rather what you do after you get into it. And we're going to discuss that quite a while today because, again, from my time in our trading room, that seems to be one of the biggest issues that I want to also help clarify and dispel any myths. So that's what you saw. This is available now online at this link right here. It's our in our latest beta. And the reason I'm staying on this topic and bringing it up is kind of simple. Brokerage Plus, and for you guys that know how we work, we do this quite a bit. Brokerage Plus is in beta, and while it is in beta, it is free, and if anyone who has access to it while it was in beta gets that free grandfather rate. So for whoever is using Trade Ideas Premium and is active with the beta and has access to Brokerage Plus, you will not be charged once Brokerage Plus gets moved into the production release. The price of that is going to be $1,088 one-time fee. And so in essence, everybody who's an early adopter, and a lot of you who are on this webinar are early adopters because you're here and you want to listen and expand the knowledge, you're going to get Brokerage Plus for free. It's for free now, and I'm just reiterating that. We have a recent addition to our media component, which is a podcast that I do with various members of Trade Ideas as well as guests, and this Friday we'll be doing another one. It's kind of fun. It's more lighthearted, and again, I think it's a good bit of infotainment. So join us for these podcasts. They're available, and they are pretty good. It's just, you know, something to broaden your depth of trade ideas. Whoops, I jumped the gun a little bit. Let me 86 the presentation and move right into the demonstration. Okay, let me make sure firstly that everyone can see my screen. Brad, are you seeing it well? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's coming through. I see you have a nice little layout right there.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the Trade Ideas channel bar. Okay, and on the left-hand side of my screen, you can see we have lots of different channels. So for example, I can click on this channel called the Defense channel, and we just added it. And the reason that, again, we add channels all the time, just like a cable company might, is because our software is so modular, we can quickly help get you to the things that you need to talk about. In our political environment, Donald Trump was talking about huge spending on defense, so we quickly created a defense channel. This way you can right away see what's going on, what has a chance to give you an advantage. One of the biggest advantages that an investor can find, if you can find it in the right way, is what we call the trend reversals. So, Brad, remind me, isn't this Smith & Wesson with their names changed?
I don't think so. I think it's outdoor. It's a different ticker. I'll find it while you're doing that. But
okay, well, this is another one, SPWH, Sportsman's Warehouse. I'm sure they sell guns, which is why you and I put them out there. Has had a pretty rough go of it. Outdoor retailer, yeah. Has had a pretty rough go of it. But today, it was up 5% on 113% of its normal volume. So while it's not ready yet, what I want to show you is the simple methodology that users of Trade Ideas use to find opportunities and never miss them. So let me show you how it goes. First of all, notice something very important. On my screen, I can press my control key and use my mouse wheel to scroll in and out of various zoom modes. And here I am on the daily chart. I mean, and this daily chart looks terrible. But where things look terrible is where active, astute investors find opportunities. Now, does this mean that we're all piling into Sportsman's Warehouse? No. But let me tell you what my eyes see, and your eyes are your best indicator. I often talk about forgetting all forget the 4 and 3 letter symbols that have been shoved down the throats of individual investors since the day of any kind of investing. Forget RSI, forget MACD, and every other acronym that you can imagine. Your eyes, the things that evolved over billions of years, are actually quite good at telling you what you need to do through a feel. So obviously we can tell this has been going down. But at the same time, you can also see that the volume over this month here has kind of increased. So what does that mean? Psychologically speaking, and investing is a psychological game. What this means is we may be encountering what's called a washout. A washout means where people are like, I am done. I am scared. I don't want to be here anymore. And while, again, that sounds terrible on the one hand, on the other hand, for people who are looking for explosive opportunities, that's where we want to look. So here's what we do. We look at this, and instead of getting out the calculus and abacus boards and starting writing algorithms, we do something very simple. We visually create a price level and an alert. Right-click, that's all I did. I can do this on any stock, anywhere. I'm just right-clicking right here and saying create an alert. This may be the turn. See, not super scientific, but very straight to the point. I hit save, and visually, now I know what's happening. So what this means is when, and by the way, this is going to be here in perpetuity, when this gets crossed, I will be alerted. Now, what's really nice is you can adjust this. You can move it any way you want just by moving it without having to reset it. So I'm going to set it just right here at 554. And I'm going to say, hey, when this stock crosses here, this looks like a psychological change. It's as simple as that. Then after that, it's rinse and repeat. So our software allows you to sort the information by various columns at any window. So here I am on Make My Day Punk, and by the way, that's all the Clint Eastwood reference. So hopefully not everyone is completely offended by our sense of humor. Brad, why did you make that name? We can see that if you're interested in seeing what's going on in some of these where the volume is very heavy, well, this one, Geo Group, has certainly had a gigantic volume day today. So, Brad, earnings. So they're doing earnings in 2 days. You see right here, we have on our single stock window.
No, the earnings date was 10 days ago.
Sorry. E, it starts with the same letter, Brad. Admit it. E, earnings. Okay. So there was a big gap down. In that case, I do not know what the news was, but I will tell you this. After this gap, it was pretty much traded up the whole day. So to me, that spells opportunity. And while I'm not going to be buying it here, but what I will say, at 44, okay, you've got my attention. Now we're in this situation that myself and Barry and a lot of other people have described, which is again a simple situation called filling the void. So you can see that there is a big void in this gap, like there's a point of pain. But when this gap starts getting filled, that means that the people who sold here, quote unquote, the weak hands, psychologically they start feeling bad, they may want to get back in, and then others who are trying to find a good price also buy, and potentially it can go right back into its uptrend. And that's when, if you zoom out, what you find out is, well, look, this stock had a big gap up and is really pretty much just ran very quickly, I might add, like 100% quickly almost, from 27.88 to 50. So one of the other things that I want to mention here is that think about return on investing. Brad, the fake stream financial media talks about expected returns. You should never have expected returns because their definition of an expected return is 3% and 5% and 1%. Look at what just happened.
The fake media?
The fake media, fake financial media, the ones that tell you to buy and hold. Those are the people that, again, their whole job is to take you for fees and keep information like this, the fact that here is a stock and supply and demand can simply make something go 100% in one 2, 3, 4 months. Okay, so this simply could actually be a very interesting opportunity, and that's why we created the alert. We don't know, but we anticipate, and we let it come to us instead of chasing. Okay, so these channels are designed to get you to where you need to be faster. So here's a channel we call social media. One of the things that separates trade ideas from other vendors is that we don't simply just look at structured data, we look at unstructured data. We're not just watching the exchanges, we're watching social media. And we're looking at where is the action, okay? So here, if you look at our stock picks relative activity, you can see that on a relative basis, AUXO was just being talked about the most unusual amount. That's important and interesting because when you've got that, you've got the potential for continuation. So what do? Brad, I thought you were going to say it, but right? We set an alert right here. Right click, rinse,
and repeat.
The talk is not cheap. So what we're saying here is that, look, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but certainly if it comes back through here, and you know what, let me right click, change my properties real quick.
And you know, Dan, it's an information stream, right? Just because that alert's going to pop up, that doesn't mean you're a monkey and you go buying it, right? You're taking in the alert.
Right. I've covered my my bases here, and I basically got out of this area and put it back into this zone so that whatever is happening, it's happening. That's simply all that I wanted to showcase. I wanted to say that instead of trying to magically create signals when two things cross, which is it's so weird that, again, you've been fed this stuff, like a crossing of this versus a crossing of that, and then the lagging of this and the lagging of that. I hate that people have forced everyone to make things so much more complicated than they have to. There's a beauty in the simplicity. And what I'm doing here is I'm simply creating visual alerts based on the physical momentum that I am seeing. So remember, again, you can sort everything, right? So if you want to see things that are doing something that again is behaving well, you can see it. We have these things called position in 20-day range or position in today's range, where you can see just strength start to line up. Again, this is after hours. So look at this, ELF Beauty closed at 25 and is right now at 28. So again, we do post-market, pre-market. We're doing everything so that you can just quickly get to the action. And this kind of display right here, it really lets you quickly be aware of almost anything and everything. We have an earnings channel. Okay, this channel, up with earnings today, down with earnings today. I mean, it doesn't get any easier or harder than that. You just simply go through the motions, and then you set it up and create alerts about what you need to do. Okay, so yeah, as Brad was saying in our social media channel, just so that everyone is aware, these aren't all stocks that are about social media. On the contrary, many of them have nothing to do with social media at all. They're being mentioned on social media. That's what you're trying to do. This is not about finding social media stocks. There's not that many of them that are interesting. Okay.
So I think, again, it's probably a good time to maybe point out like the special data that we do, right? And in this social media channel, there's a special data point, that StockTwits relative activity. It's a data point that we're creating in real time. We have the benchmark norm, so we know what PRKR is normally being talked about. We know how many times people normally mention it, but this is really indicating that it's being mentioned just a lot more than normal, giving you that insight.
And here's something else that most people don't know. Well, the institutions are trying to figure out 7,000 algorithms and a magic wand on sentiment. What they don't realize is that price trumps sentiment. So you can kind of get the sentiment all together from the price, okay? And here, if it's up 22 cents, generally speaking, on a stock that's this small, the sentiment has to be positive, even though it traded kind of, you know, there's just a big seller at the end. And you can figure that out for everything. It's the same thing with Sunrun, okay? It's being talked about a lot, and if it's coming down like this, I mean, what do you really think the sentiment has been? It's super easy. The other thing is news. That's another question that everybody talks about. News, 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 news. Do you cover news? The answer is no, but there's a reason why. You don't need to know the news. Okay, number one, first of all, news is a relativity term. It's interpreted differently by different people. Okay, that's number one. Number two, volume and prints trumps news. Let me explain. The lawyer that was handling legal settlement on a patent has a wife or a partner or a cousin, and people talk. And again, I'm using this just as a metaphor, but when they talk, the people that they talk to take action, and they take that action in the stock market, in the options market, and we pick that up. That's why our whole value add is looking for the unusual. That's why you don't see too many trade ideas users constantly talking about Apple. What's the point? Everybody knows what's happening. And also, look at this, 0.33%. You know, that's just not that much. Whereas you have a stock like PRKR, which is up 22 cents, that's 8% in percentage terms. And that's what you should all be thinking about. You want to be in things that have big percentage momentum behind them. Look at this stock, okay, OCRX. Look at this number, 84.87%, okay? I mean, what it would take for Facebook to be there, or Twitter, or any of the other popular stocks. I mean, the other thing so there's been a lot of also questions recently about Snap. Is Snap going to be the new Facebook? Is it going to run up to 100? And nobody knows, first of all, because you cannot predict the future. But here's what I will tell you. Okay, when you have a stock with a float of 775 million shares, it's going to take quite a bit of movement in terms of shares traded to get it to go. Whereas, if you have a float of 20 million shares, and look at the difference here. I mean, this is kind of, Brad, it's such an interesting perspective, and I love being able to kind of showcase this. So here you have Snap, which traded 50 million shares, roughly speaking, and of course is, you know, known by everyone and is one of the more popular things out there in the world. And here you have OCRX, which traded 30 million shares, not that much less. It's just at $1.
By comparison, right?
Right. I mean, but 99.9% of the people just, you know, they
don't know about it.
They don't know about it because the news does not cover these stocks. This is the thing. Research has no point in covering XTNT and GBT, even though innovation takes place here.
Well, yeah, and 60 cents to $1.20. That's a good move.
Yeah, look at this. I'm going to bring up this stock, by the way. I mean, Brad, remember this was a Holly trade from not yesterday, but the day before. And I think Holly brought it up like right here or something like that. Okay, and look at the float, 34 million shares. Look at the volume, 682,000 shares. I keep explaining this to people. You want to be here because you're in the discovery mode. Even though, of course, the stock is, you know, it's discovered, but the stock market is the currency of innovation, and there are companies that are fighting to cure Alzheimer's and cancer and create new technologies. You know, I mean, to some extent, including Snapchat, to an extent. But again, while everybody knows about this, almost nobody ever has heard of this because you have to have specific knowledge and expertise. And that's where Trade Ideas takes it, to another level. This is where you are able to distinguish yourself from your friends because you can find things by being able to look at things like the float. And let's take a look at CYCC and also look at, again, notice the percentage opportunities. Okay, we're looking at movements of 15%, not 0.001. Okay, so you have stocks where the big picture is possible large force trend reversals. Okay, so what I'm going to say is on CYCC, I'm going to right click and once again I'm going to create an alert and say it is go time. And what that means is it's past the gauntlet. It has passed the gauntlet of this area. It's filled the void. Notice again, there's a lot of concepts that repeat. What we did on the defense channel, or not the defense channel, but the I forgot the name of the stock. I, of course, put an alert on it, but the one that had gapped down and it was a nice uptrend. This is a gap, a pain point. Notice the volume. More, everyone thinks like, thank God we got rid of this, but now all of these people are finding themselves feeling kind of dumb. Nobody likes to feel dumb. And I don't need to chase it. I don't need to worry about it. That's the beauty of the Trade Ideas approach. I don't need to mess with it until it is over here. And now it is go time because from here, it could literally in one day be here. And that's almost, 60%. That's the kind of things that I want you guys to realize are possible. This is what's at stake. And notice now with Brokerage Plus, when it does get there, I can just go right click, trade, and then, 5,000, 500, 200. You can customize what you want to do, and it's done. We try to make it simpler, not harder. Notice on the left-hand side, you can see, well, why is this an opportunity? Well, look, it's down since January 1, market cap of 16 million, and Brad, this is maybe one of my favorites. Okay, most people, again, they don't know how to look at the simple things. Look at this, Brad. This is your Dan and Brad 101. Brad, what's the relationship here between the cash and the market cap?
It's trading for cash right now.
That's right. In other words, what this is called is a bag of cash. CYCC is, in essence, a bag of money. Now, it's not a bag of money in, in the literal way where I'm saying it's going to go up. None of that. But I want you just to use your imagination. This company, now let's see what focuses on the development and commercialization for the treatment of cancer. That's what we were talking about, the cancer cure plays. 16 million is actually a large amount of cash for these types of stocks, okay? And they're always trying to break through. Here's another beauty. Look at this. People are betting heavily against it. The smart people. I love this because when this took place, and I'll give you an example that we just had, okay, when that to me was one of the beauties, and I'll show again 2 of those, is that you use components that other people don't use. While everyone's, trying to figure out 700-year trailing peg something or others, or all these metrics that actually they just know how to say but don't know what they mean, the people at Trade Ideas, again, take that simple approach. Wow, market caps to cash. This thing is trading for cash, so all of their innovation is being discounted to 0. Okay, we gotcha. And it's had a little bit of a hard time. But, Brad, what's the relative volume?
It's trading 5 times normal volume at that time of day, which is right now, end of day.
So I would say, to the news people that it's possible some news is out, or news out that you might not know yet. That's how this works. And so that is the beauty. So Al just asked a question, and since this is the Q&A webinar, we'll digress. I want to answer it because it's an interesting. Aren't most of these RX pops on news short-lived? Well, Al, we don't know because we can't predict the future, but I will tell you what I do know, and I bring this up often. I was in this stock at 5, and it went to 15 in one day, and I actually got out like right around here at 11, and that's like 3 years worth of percentage in overnight. Forget buy and hold. I mean, some of these things you can stay in, and some of these things you can't. Look at here's one. You're saying that are these bio plays short-lived? Well, it's all relative. Again, that's why we talk about relativity. Einstein knows a couple of things. This is point of pain right here. We talk about it, that gap. Here's the gap getting filled. Here's like, oh no, you don't. But look at this move from here to where it is now. Is this short-lived? I mean, ask yourself that question. I'm going to say no, but it's all relative. And on a percentage basis, considering that you've made 300%, I think the faster you make 300%, the better. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I agree. And I think, it's all also dependent upon when you get in. It's that relative time of entry, right? Because when you get in at 2, it's easy sailing on up there. If you get in at 7, it's a little bit more volatile.
That's right. That is absolutely right. Again, Al, part of the reason why I'm continuing to talk about this topic is because you're being victimized by memes. Memes are things that people say, and they kind of say they're out there, and then they are repeated over and over. Buy and hold is a meme. It's not a strategy. It's not a concept. It's nothing. In fact, it does not work at all. It is simply a meme. Day trading. That's another meme. It's 2 words that are made to kind of demonize a concept of active investing. The truth of the matter, which you should be concerned about, is the fact that today commissions are almost 0. At Interactive Brokerage, I'm trading for very, very small commissions, and what that means is that my ability to pivot and reposition and get in and get out, I don't do it just to get in, get out, get in, get out. I mean, that's stupid. Nobody should want to just keep banging away to trade unless you're gambling at it, and then you shouldn't be here and you've got other problems to solve. But because you can get in, and if you make a mistake, you get out very quickly, that's nothing but an advantage to you. And you should do it, and do it over and over again. So back to that CYCC. We don't know if it's going to be short-lived or not, but I will tell you that, again, from my point of view, I've set the bar where I think it's a go, and I'll tell you that I'm going to add another alert to it. I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to actually do something else called the whole number. A whole number, lot of goodness. So with trade ideas, you're not just limited to, a pawn move. You can have strategy. You can think moves ahead. We talk about how one of the perils of active investing is that people tend to think that they need to be right all the time, right away. You get in, I got to get in, I got to be right, I got to make my money. Well, what if you, and I've brought this up many, many times in our trading room, Brad, what if you wanted to get into a $5,000 worth and you broke it up into $2,500 at a time? Or 500 shares worth and you broke it up into 250 shares at a time? Or even 100 shares at a time? Because you, and I'll tell you, there is no reason to why not, because commissions are so low. Goodness gracious, you can sit there on your cell phone at Robinhood and bang away for free at no cost. This is the best time to be an active investor. And since there is no other technology like ours that can show you these kinds of opportunities, the kinds that, while everyone is obsessed with Snap, you're looking at this, where the potential is. Think of the distance between 5 and 9, or 13th. I mean, you're talking about some serious percentages.
Would you mind pulling up OCRX again? There's
Sure.
a question about when this particular symbol was identified, and it just happened to be one of the AI signals today. So maybe it's a good segue
Let me just
into.
pop in our AI, and I'll do it right by the symbol. Okay, so OCRX was identified today by the AI at 7:26 in the morning, West Coast time, and it was identified. Here's an entry price column at 95 cents.
So go ahead and zoom back out in your 5-minute chart so we can kind of get an idea visually as to where that signal was.
Okay, let me bring it up first of all here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get rid of this, this, and this, and get rid of this, just so that it's easier for everyone to see. And because again, these are, I'm just rearranging. So by the way, you can see everything's a modular window. I'm making it so that you can really see more clearly what it is that we are talking about. Let me actually expand it a little more. How about like this? So this is also kind of almost a Q&A segue where, okay, every window that you have can be customized to a view mode that you like. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing you guys, this is Holly, our artificial intelligence, and this is your virtual analyst. It's a shot caller. So she calls the shots of what you should do if you want to play advantage player investing. What does advantage player mean? Okay, let me kind of explain by making Brad explain. Brad, what is Holly doing right now as I am beautifully conveying the value proposition of why everybody should be a lifetime subscriber to Trade Ideas?
Yeah, so what Holly's doing is really doing some really incredible statistical stuff using the technology that we developed in the odds maker, the backtesting tool. Holly's going through a list of about 38 different strategies right now, and going through those strategies, adding today's market data to the hopper, and really going through each individual filter in each strategy and optimizing it, making it better, and using a statistical set that's in sample data and also a statistical set that's out of sample to make sure that we avoid the curve fitting. And it's automatically creating these and refining these strategies, and then they're all competing with each other at the end of the day after it's done all this refinement and optimization to see which strategies are really the cream of the crop and can make the cut for tomorrow. So tomorrow when we come in, we're going to have a whole new set of strategies looking at the market, and really we have no idea what's going to possibly signal, but when all the filtered criteria and when the event occurs in these particular strategies, then we'll have a signal tomorrow. Very much like we have all these signals that Dan's showing you over on the left-hand side.
So these were all signals, and let's talk about, so for the AI today you had, I'm going to do it by time, so you can kind of see like what did people see as it happened. So the first trade was APTO, and it popped in at, dang it. Okay, it popped in at 117, it went as high as 121, and ended up being a force. I think what is it? I think it ended up being a 1 cent winner, kind of a flat trade. But this is what happened. Okay, and the strategy is called wake up call, because wake up call means that hey, something's going on. Like a big buyer came in, but in this particular case, it did not work out. However, and this is a very, very important, however, I'm going to talk about how we do it. So people often ask, Brad, is this AI and is all of your stuff just for day trading? Hell no, because remember I said day trading isn't even a word that exists. Okay, look at this daily chart for the stock. Okay, and again, we're in the biosciences because people are trying to cure cancer. So cancer curing is kind of an important thing. Look at this thing. From $4 in June of 2016, incredible points of pain. But really the low has been since November, and it's been digesting, and it's had some positive things happen. This is all a digestion phase, okay? So what we can do now, and by the way, let's go back here, 7 million, it's basically trading for just a little bit more than 2 times cash, like 8 million in cash, and its market cap is 19. A very big discount to any kind of innovation that it has. Once again, what Brad and I mentioned before, the news. Well, you don't need to worry about the news. You can see someone's trying to figure something out. 2 times its normal activity. Also, people are betting against it. You like that because when the smart guys are betting against things, that's when we really like to take advantage of the quote-unquote smart guys. They're not as smart as you think. That's the fake stream media, buy and hold. Even the hedge funds are not as bright as they pretend to be. Okay. Now, we don't know that. I'm not saying that's a winner and I'm going all in over here, but what I'm saying simply is I can just put myself in a position right here to say, now me likey. And
one of the things, Dan, that I don't think, well, maybe a lot of people don't get is that, it's just you're not afraid to get into a position. Really, it's about managing that position that's critical, and you shouldn't be afraid to put your toes in the water to feel it out.
Well, not only that, but Holly is kind of your man. She's telling you if you want to be super conservative, what you need to do. This is called risk off, which means that all during the day, here's the trade. Let me just go back, and so you can look at what's a risk off time frame. Here, you got in 10 minutes after the open, and you were in it for almost an hour, okay, but nothing happened. Here, you got in at 16 minutes after the open. Same thing, you actually lost 14 cents. And by the way, that happens. Losing is a part of winning. If you ever are
pull up that symbol though, Dan, because this is a great one. And don't let the losing fool you here, because anybody that actually was in this particular trade at the time of the call, I think you could have made 30 cents, something like that. And 30 cents on a $3 stock is pretty significant. And managing the trade properly, there's profit to be made there.
No doubt. And we are hunting the important things, the things that have that kind of alpha potential. Okay, so let me go back, Brad, to the reason why I brought up, well, this one, of course, but where were we? We were on APTO. I had created my own alert, which, again, I will be alerted to APTO when it crosses this level, because I'm saying this thing is really going to hunt this area right here and maybe go even further. Look, I want to chase this. This is what I'm after. I want to get this whole slope, and it almost did it here, but no. But it looks like it might want to go again. So I'm now not able to miss it. Okay, that's the simple 1-2 step of trade ideas. So here, hypothetically speaking, I'm not on the AI, or I am. I didn't trade it on the AI, but afterwards I'm evaluating, and here's your swing. You want to be in this to maybe go to 3, that's 300%. And for those of you that don't like to make 300% quickly, I really don't know what to say. Again, part of the hypnosis that the market has put on people is that, they want you to make your money, but you got to stay in it, good amount of time. I don't want you to get it too quick. That wouldn't be fair, now would it? It's just such bullshit. And part of that bullshit is because everyone's blind, because they're all stuck on the FANG stocks, the Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. That ship has sailed. I'm not saying that Apple's not going to do well, but trying to trade around it is just that it's silly when you've got the percentage potentials from 1 to 5 or 4. Okay, so that's APTO, MYOS. Okay, this. Maybe, let me just say, what was that outdoor, Brad, what was that outdoor symbol that I was in? SW, whatever. Okay, well, you guys all remember, but the point is kind of similar. That outdoor defense.
It's on the defense channel.
Yeah, well, I don't want to ruin my layout here.
Right.
So, but look at this move right here, right? Hawaiian Airlines is getting obliterated. But according to the statistical behavior, and this is what Holly did, at 47.95, it on the bouncers move, because again it went up, it came down a little bit, it hit a target, and again these are the patterns that you thank you, Joe, thank you. I'll bring that back up. The thing is this, well, in terms of entries and stuff like that, what your eyes see or what your brain tells you to get into, it's not always the right thing, because again there's a quantitative level, a statistical level that's hiding underneath that simply humans can't process. So we have a strategy called bouncers that's doing a bounce kind of behavior where it goes up, comes down really quickly, whatever is the right amount, and then we believe statistically that it kind of will go up. And this one was beautiful. It's beautiful because what if you catch it? This is the day trading not part of it. How much would you love to be in this thing, swinging it back up to the top? And notice, when you look back now, you realize that this was just a very big retracement of where the industry says F you to buy and holders. You know, if you bought it here, or here, or here, or here. I mean, buying and holding is just a very difficult thing to do, because look how long you have to sit there in these declines. I mean, they suck, but the trend is actually quite positive. That's the duality of the dual nature of the situation. So that was the biggest point gainer today for the AI. The next one was PRTK. Once again, pharmaceutical, that's where the potential energy is. And notice what you're trying to do is, you know, in this case, you know, blah, 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 phase 3, some therapy. Again, you don't need to be the scientist that knows what it's doing other than understanding, okay, acne, nobody likes that, other than understanding that there's potential locked up. You want to be in something that goes from 17 possibly back to 30. But how are you going to find the time to get into it? Well, you do it statistically. That's what we're doing. That's why we're saying we're the advantage players. I mean, this is a beautiful move, and especially, Brad, imagine if you were doing this move off of the bottom, which we had discussed. We want to catch these. We want to catch these moves. These are the high alpha type moves because everyone's afraid of them. You want to be there. You want to be there where others are afraid. Because you don't have fear, because you have technology and you understand risk. It's that simple. Professional poker players, or guys that are very good at poker, they are never worried about playing against a bunch of amateurs, because amateurs can get lucky for hours. They can just get the good cards. But over time, and I talk about this again frequently, the law of large numbers plays out to the advantage of people who have statistics on their side. And that's us. That's you. That's what we are doing here. We beat the market not through crosses of random moving averages against one another. We do it with statistical analysis, hardcore statistical analysis and big data. Our AI gives us suggestions and we then follow. This was, again, PRTK, beautiful, you know, opportunity, and here I am. I'm just going to put in an entry right here and say, thank you, Holly. And when this crosses, it'll appear at the right time. And again, remember, if you change your mind and you really want to take out that peak, although I don't think that's necessary, you know, right here. That's all you need. The whole key is don't overthink it. Don't overstress it. Don't overthink it. OCRX, that's the one that we covered. Remember the void, the point of pain. I mean, Barry and I, we discussed this in our free trading room, which, by the way, again, is free to everyone, where we constantly reiterate the best practices of how to work with the technology. And Barry Anderson, who's our trading room moderator, does probably the most phenomenal job of helping everybody really to not only understand what's going on, but set an example. and he keeps me at bay because, oh my God, what if I had access to that room all the time and the microphone? How many lawsuits, Brad, would you have to cover?
Yeah, I don't even want to go there. That would be a tough one.
No, nobody does. Okay. But today we're giving you the flavor of what do you get with the AI. People say, what do you get with this AI? Well, you get NEOS at 742, at 648. Okay? And it ended up going to 7. Retracing hard to
Did you see where
654.
OCRX was after hours, Dan?
Huh? What?
Did you see where OCRX was after hours?
121?
Yeah, just,
I mean, this is what we say. Joe, we don't have the E-Trade plugin for Holly because they don't want to pay for that. But you can ask them, and maybe they'll be nice one day.
And we do, though, we do link with Power E-Trade Pro. Even if you're using our standalone version, it'll symbol link with E-Trade.
So wake-up call. Let's show what a good loser looks like. Okay? Here's one where you, and again, this is a whole part of it, risk management. So here, Cole, Holly gets you in at 1570 because it looked like it was breaking out. I quickly now see where I need to be, and I'm saying it right here, where I need to be. Hopefully you can see that what I'm doing here is I'm now integrating myself with the artificial intelligence. While the AI gives you something for a day, now I have it forever. And this is why and how our subscribers make more money than average.
So Dan, I want to point something out because it's really critical if you look at the reason why Holly got out of certain positions in the risk-off mode. So Holly can get out because of the time stop. Every strategy has a certain time. Holly can get out because of a reduced risk. When she starts to see that a certain amount of time has expired and the stock is not performing as it was intended, it's gonna perform a reduced risk to get out of that position. Then the other one is a profit save. And the profit save is if the stock has gone up a certain amount and it's just pulling back, it wants to lock in some profits, just like you would want to do if you're trading. So it's really important to know what that exit reason is, because on that stock, COLL, that was a reduced risk. That doesn't mean you just stay in it. It's telling you this is not a great idea to remain in that position. So it's giving you the kind of the guidance, if you will, to get out of that position.
And by the way, all of this, thanks to the feedback from our users, from you guys, as a result, now when Holly gets out of trades, there's audible alerts, there's visuals. I mean, and you guys won't even believe where this is going. I mean, we're going to blow things out of the water, but again, that's for later. But here's NEOS 648, and the reason I brought it up is because the profit save 742, 824, 30 minutes, and just under, actually just over 3.5% in 30 minutes. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the name of the game. Okay.
That went up over $7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right at it. And again, there's no such thing as any system that's perfect. ABCO did not work out, but again, we get you out quickly so that you are not exposed to this. Okay, and let me show you what the console looks like so you can kind of see more what to do. So this, here I was kind of reviewing the trades, and my gosh, we went so, Brad, you were yapping so much today that we're almost out of time already.
It's funny how that happens, huh?
Yeah. But here, just so you guys can understand, so here are the strategies. These are their tested percentages. So look, 69%. After all the stuff that Holly is doing right now, these are the things, the percentages that made the cut. In other words, the quantitative combine that made it so that these strategies work. Tomorrow there will probably be different ones. These are the profit factors, and not all of them triggered. So that's why nothing happened here, here, or here. But this is the expected compared to the actual. 69 to 100, 53 to 100, 68 to 75, 52 to 75, 65 to 66, and you had a losing one, which happens. So Holly, I mean, this is the evolution of what investing is like. So Matthew, we will have some indicators on our charts, but again, remember, indicators are superficial. They're things that you are putting in there like a whoopee, a blankie, a buddy, you know, and I know that sounds almost condescending, but again, they don't help you in any way other than to just tell you stuff to look at, whereas the statistics underneath provide all of that and a bag of chips. All right, Brad, since it's, my gosh, it's so fast, since it's 3 o'clock, just a real quick reminder. Live trading room right here, and you can get there from our website. It's free. Really suggest everybody goes and sees what's going on there. I mean, this is how we help. This is our on-ramp. Tons of channels for you to investigate, from active trading to alpha predator. And again, we are always going to be focusing on different elements here for you, but the idea is that these are the ones that have the potential. I mean, look at this stuff right here. You know that none of you knew about FH. I mean, that's all you, like, you know, if you want to say to yourself, are these guys full of shit or are they real? Ask yourself, were you aware of FH? And if you were, you're probably just a 1%er. Or you already have our software. So let me do something real quick here. I'm going to pull up our homepage. Through my super fast internet machine.
Is that what you have there, an internet machine?
This is my internet machine, Brad. So right here at the top, we have our live room. If you click on it, it will prompt you to do everything that you need to do to get to our free trading room. If you want to download the software, we have a link right here. We have a web-based version. And of course, if you want the latest beta, that's somewhere, Brad?
Yeah, if you go to the top, all the way to the top, all the way up to the top.
Products.
And you can say download TI Pro. No. Right there. Yeah, then scroll down, you'll see the beta.
Why do you tell, well, how come I don't know how to use our own software? Where is it?
Well, this is an internet machine, so I think that pretty much says it all, right?
Is it on the top fold? Or?
No, select download TI Pro.
Oh, the link.
Nice.
Brad's so fancy.
If I could grab the mouse from you right now, I would. Scroll down.
And grab my mouse in the back of my neck and just ring it. Right here. So this beta right here is the one where you get access to Brokerage Plus, the one that's already integrated with interactive brokerage. It's out, and it's free. So guys, if you're early adopters, this is the thing to do. We have the most robust support environment out there in FinTech. So what I want to do now is I'll give you a chance to get some discount codes from Scott and have him finish up. But please join us in the trading room and take a look at the innovation of where active investing has come. It's come a long way, and we're leading the pack. Scott,
Yeah.
you ready?
If anyone's still trying to find that beta page, just use the short link, tradeideas.com/beta. It'll forward to it. So to thank everyone for attending today, we have a promotional code that's good this month. Use the code YES2HOLLY, the number 2 in the middle, and all caps for the letters. That will take a nice 15% off your first month or year of trade ideas. And that's good for either standard or premium. And one thing to keep in mind is both standard and premium come with an hour included of training, one-on-one training. So once you become a subscriber, spend a few days kind of checking things out, going to the trading room, watching our videos, and then go to the support section, click on training, and schedule a training session now that you have some things in mind that you want to cover during that training, and take advantage of that hour. You'll have a full hour with either, like Steve Gomez or Jamie Hodge, our Director of Education, or Andy Lindloff. They're all available and in the calendar app to schedule. So again, go to tradeIdeas.com/price and use that code to save off your first month or year. You'll get this in your email also tomorrow with a link to the playlist where we have the archive of the Q&A demo sessions. And yeah, Dan brought up the podcast earlier in the webinar. Do subscribe to that. The easiest way to do that is use whatever app that you use for podcasts and just search for Trade Ideas Podcast. It should come right up there at the top. And if you're not finding it in the app that you use, send us an email, let us know, and we'll make sure it gets listed. But we think we covered all of them, including the most popular ones like iTunes and Stitcher. So any questions, email us, info@trade-ideas.com. If you got something specific to ask Dan or Brad, Dan is available at dan@ or Brad is brad@. You can follow Dan Merkin at Trade Ideas 1. We also have at Trade Ideas, those are Twitter handles. If you follow us on Facebook, like our page, facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro. That way, when we post some original content to our Facebook account, you can share that out with all your friends. Thanks, Dan and Brad. We'll get the recording up tonight. Thanks everyone that attended. And do remember to sign up for tomorrow's Trading Studio, too, when you get that email tonight. We'll have Andy Lindloff and Jamie Hodge talking some more trade ideas and trading tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, good night, y'all.